Oh, it's good to be here. I'm going to tell you a story, and this is how it goes. I got to move a little bit, otherwise I can't get my brain to remember. Once upon a time, and actually it wasn't even upon time, because time didn't exist yet. There was no time. And but long before this time was never time, God decided that God was going to create something. We don't know why. There was nobody there. There was no interviews. There were no sound bites. No, none of that. And so God decided that God was going to create creation, because there was nothing else, right, that we know about. So creation was going to get created. Just go with me. I wasn't there, but it took a while, but we don't know how much time before time. And the first thing God did, for some reason, I think because creating is so fun. It's so fun to get your hands in clay or paint, isn't it? I don't know of anybody, adult or kid, that if you bring out a block of clay, they don't just want to go touch it. I think God is the same. And so God started playing around, and the first thing that was created was light. And of course, light and darkness together. And you don't know one without the other, and everything in between. And stars. Imagine the stars. Among the first things that were made. Moon and 8 planets, and then Pluto. Right? And Pluto was kind of a cartoon character, so it kind of came later. And but the planets in the galaxy were in the solar system of this galaxy. They ranged from super hot. I mean, so hot you could hardly touch them. You can't touch them unless you're God, and God loved to play with it. Just felt so good. Or so cold that it's colder than you can fathom, and like to cool off the hands for after touching that hot planet, you know, and then created all the ones in between, including this one, this magnificent Earth. And in order to create a lake, just took a pinky finger and just touched it, and then filled with water. It's just amazing. Or bumped into it with a elbow, and then there was a big lake. There was Lake Superior, and then, shoulder went in as a whole ocean. And it just continued like that. And every time God did something, God stood back and said, whoa, that's great. That's great. I'm pleased with that. That's good. That's really good. And then as it went on, just continued to create more and more things, and creatures and fish like halibut. Anybody know halibut? They're born, little fish hatch, and they look just like a fish. And 2 eyes on 2 sides of the head, but they're at the bottom of that ocean that was put in with God's shoulder, so deep that the pressure is so great, and there's an air bubble that gets inside a halibut. And I'm digressing, but it flips on its side because of the air bubble, and the eyes migrate to the top side. So both eyes end up on one side of its head, and it swims like this. And God looked at that, and we would have said, God, kind of messed that one up. But God said, whoa, that's way cool. And then pufferfish, it just kept going. There was no stopping it. It was beyond anything you could ever dream of. And if you think you've got too many ornaments on the tree because they're all just so gaudy and all, no, it's worse than that. All of creation was so amazing. It's crazy to think about the story of Noah's Ark. I divert again. You would need a boat the size of the planet to fit the diversity of creatures on a single boat. But it's a nice story. So you got all these creatures, you got animals, you got platypuses, you got beluga whales, you got blue whales, you got sperm whales, you've got whales that are so big they're like the size of a football field. And then you've got the smallest of little things that you can hardly even see. And then, like from Dory, and there's little lights in front. down at the bottom of the ocean. There are fish that we've never seen at the bottom of the ocean. It's remarkable. And God saw all of it and said, this is really good. This is so good. I think I'm going to do some more. So get this. God created more solar systems inside of galaxies. And everyone had a black hole inside of every galaxy, like a belly button. Every single galaxy. And then God was having such a great time, because there's no time. God was doing such a great job with it and had such a ball, decided to create billions of planets in this galaxy alone, people. You know, I get excited about this stuff. Every single time I do. Billions of planets in this galaxy alone. And get this, he was having such a great time, decided to make billions of galaxies, of which there are billions of planets and stars in each. It's mind-blowing. And then God looks out. This part I'm making up. God looks out and says, yeah. Christmas would not be right without you, my little sweetheart. God looked out and said, this is all amazing. I could almost be complete, but there's not one creature that's like I am. Now that's a little messed up thinking, but go with me. It's not me, it's the Bible. I need to create a creature like me, which actually, and I think this is the only difference between creatures. Like me, lives in time, but not just the present. Like most creatures, almost all creatures live in the present. We live in the past. And we live in the present, if we're lucky, occasionally, if we stub our toe, we're in the present. But mostly in the future. I've been in the future all day today. 3:30's coming. I gotta find somebody to pick all the wax off. I'm in the future. I haven't been in the present. So we're in the past or we're in the future. And right in the middle. And that's God. God transforms. All of this time gets compressed and added to. And so creates humans. Now let's just say the humans come into being and God says, okay, now that works. Now this is the part I don't know how to navigate. There's such a diversity out there of creatures. There's so many, it is a diverse, frogs for instance. There are frogs, some turtles. If they're in a pond and there are too many male frogs, they transform into female frogs so that it's balanced. No kidding. Yeah, if you look at that, it's like God looked at that and thought, hey, that's kind of cool. It blew our minds. But God creates these creatures. And they're safe. They all interlock with each other. They all depend on one another. They're all so connected to one another in a oneness, right? We can't live. We cannot live without bumblebees, even if you're allergic to them. You can't live with them. There are no flowers without bees. There are no fruit. We could go on for a long time with that, but it's all connected. And the problem was, human beings, because we don't live in the present. We live in the past and in the future, and we have the ability to look and wonder at things. And we have this brain that wants to always play with stuff and try to imagine who's the best. Who's the best? Well, obviously, we're better than a beluga whale, because we can think, we can write, and we can order from Amazon. Right? So we're better. So then we start to create little tribes based upon what we look like. Right? So however we look is the way we will organize ourselves, and we will go to war with each other over what we look like. Right? I know you don't believe me, but it's so true. We'll arrest people. We'll lock them up, even though they turn down our beds and they pick our fruit for nothing. We'll do it because that's what we. And God looks down on the creatures and He sees this, and I'll keep saying He, but it's He, she. It's both. So God looks down, and it breaks God's heart to see these human beings doing what they do right off the bat. How can they be destroying each other and hurting one another so badly? I think if I could think about it, maybe I'll take away the one thing that makes us very much alike, and that's free. I built them to be free with a big brain. In the past, the future, and sometimes in the present, if I take away their freedom and I make them do what I want them to do, they will not be human anymore. And it breaks God's heart, because God knows if he takes that freedom away, we will die. We don't exist. So God chose to leave it, and to suffer, and to cry, and to celebrate, and to do all of this stuff God needed to do in order for this experiment to go on. And so one day God looks down and just says, I just don't understand. Humans are the only creatures who don't pay attention to me. They're the only ones that I can scream, I can send a tornado, and then they say it's an act of God. Then they pay attention. But it wasn't me, that's just nature. They don't listen and they don't pay attention, and they're not in the present. So they're the only creature like that. Except for when they're around babies. Ever notice that? You bring a little baby into the picture, any room, anywhere, any place in the world, you bring a baby in there and just plop them up, and they just do that baby thing. Everybody just goes stupid. Oh, they become present right now. And there's something magical that happens no matter what. In the present moment, they get connected to God in a way that praying mantises do all the time. Platypuses, loons, whether they're landing, looking crazy as they land, crashing. Loons are there all the time. Humans, they look at a baby and all of a sudden, boom, they're right there. We're there. We don't have to ask. We don't have to take a confirmation class. We don't have to get any notes given to us. We know God is present in our life. Right now, there is something so beyond words that we don't have to say God is here. Forget the words. It's there. So God gets a plan. And this is the plan. I'm making this up. God gets a plan and says, that's it. I can't get through to him. So here's what I'm going to do. He gets the board together. He gets all the hierarchy of angels come in. Gabriel's at the whole 9 yards. Who's the secretary? Raphael's the secretary. And then they're taking notes, and God says, I got to ask for you all to come here today because I got an idea. I know how I'm going to get the attraction of all these people, these humans. I know I'm going to get them to stop hurting each other, and how they're going to pay attention, because I yearn to be so close to them, and they act like I'm not even here. So I've been watching them around babies. So I think I'm going to go to Earth as a baby. And you should have heard that in the boardroom. They're like, whoa, 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 whoa. You had us until you got to the I'm going as a baby. That's too risky. You see what they do with adults. You know what they do. You've even seen what they do with some babies. It's too risky, God. And God says, I think it's going to work. I think I'll get there. And as soon as I get there, I'll get everybody's attention. And they'll stop for a moment. Even if it's for a moment, it will be worth it. Just a moment to take in that we're all vulnerable. We're all in the same boat. We're all connected to every creature. Skunks with a white stripe stink up your porch. Raccoons. Poop looks like coyote poop. They're so big. They will be connected to all of them, and they'll know that if they kill a raccoon, it's going to affect them. If they poop in their own river, it will affect them. If they put their batteries in the lake, it will affect. They're going to get that when they see me as a baby. It's going to be wonderful. And God is so excited that it's hard for the angels to not be excited. But, it's like, it was irresistible. They're like, yeah, that sounds good. And then one of them says, wait a minute. how about if you do this? That's a good plan so far, but how about if you go with some magical powers? Go do something like, go with the ability to be invisible, right? So if things are getting hot, you could just be invisible. And as long as you're not like wet or something, crying, you could probably survive. And you can have that power, or the power to just strike everybody down if they're coming at you. And God says, you're missing the point. You're missing the point. And they said, yeah, the baby thing just might work. It just might work. And God says, so everybody agree? And who would say? Nobody. So it's okay, so they're going to get a plan. They're starting to get ideas in their head about creating committees to study it. And God's not into committees. I don't think we've had a committee at Peace here for 22 years. And look at how great we've become. There's 20 of you in church every Sunday. It's wonderful. And the 20 of the best. No committees. God starts walking across the boardroom, takes off his robe, which is this deep, dark blue. Have you ever seen it in the night sky at midnight when there's all these stars? No moon. It's the deepest, richest blue that you've ever seen in your life. He takes that robe off and all the stars fall off the robe, right? And they all go into one group and one big star falls through the clouds, drops that thing down. And right behind him is this big hole in heaven. And the angels start looking, and they don't know what to do. They haven't even formed their committees yet. And as they're getting close, they realize God has slipped right through the hole. Went straight down. And angels crawl over. They have bad backs too. The angels crawl over, and they look across, and it's hard to know who's more afraid. Is it the angels or is it the shepherds that they see down there? Half of them are half lit, and they've been drinking all night, watching those sheep, and they're looking at them and they're all, they're so afraid. And then the one angel says, you get over there, you're the number one angel, you talk to him. And push Edie Angel. Edie Angel leans over and she looks at him and she's frightened beyond. She's never been that close to shepherds before, and she says, fear not. But in a whisper, fear not. She thought it was louder in her head, but fear not. I bring you great tidings of joy. This night is going to be, and the shepherds are just amazed at what they're hearing. And the other angels are so perplexed because they're feeling like they don't have a part to play. So the angels are getting all together behind Edie, and they think, Edie's doing a good job explaining herself. And then all of a sudden the other angels, they break into this hallelujah chorus. So, and then they're afraid again. And it's beautiful. And they write it in the Bible. And we get all of that. And before they know it, the shepherds are going off to sea. Everything has been foretold by Edie, whispering it to them. And they're hiding their bottles. They're kicking it aside. And then everything quiets down. The angels pull away from the hole. And then the angels and the shepherds together at the exact same time. They hear this baby cry in the distance. That newborn baby cry. Have you ever been present for one of those? There's nothing like it. If you could put it in an aerosol can and spray it every once in a while, the world would have peace. But as soon as that baby started to cry, everything went still. And God's plan was complete. It was a pretty good plan, wasn't it? Wait till we get to communion. Yeah. The story continues. But I think it's a great plan. It's a great plan. And I'm tired, so amen. Amen.